put your hands together for Stephanie Legue.
Cents for a million thrills, my dear. You will see the most amazing tightrope walker. Swawally! He is the most famous sword swallower of all time. It's an amazing sight, and it's all here for you now.
I'd like you all to have sound, yes. I'd like you all to imagine a typical working day as a project manager at a creative agency. As some of you might know, it often resembles the inside of a circus tent. A bit like the one we're in now, actually. Behind the curtains, the ringmaster is chasing a chaotic bunch of acrobats and clowns, giving them directions about where they need to be and when, while at the same time dodging the playful monkeys swinging on the ropes. And there's something in the air. You can just feel it. It's the excitement for what the show is going to bring. Meanwhile, the spectators are picking their seats on the grandstand. Popcorn in one hand, high hopes in the other, ready to witness the show of their lives. Lights dim, spots turn on, complete silence, until the ringmaster steps into the ring. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I present to you the greatest, biggest, most spectacular show on earth. Now, hold on to that image. I'm not lying when I say that other people's happiness is my happiness. And honestly, don't we all experience that? As a project manager, my job felt done when everything was fully arranged for everyone. Simply thinking that was the recipe for happiness within a team. Don't worry, I'll fix that for you. That was normally my first response to everything I got asked to do. I wanted to take as much as possible off of my team's shoulders, so they could just focus on their creativity. But that didn't just make me the ringmaster of the circus. It also made me the juggler from time to time, causing me to drop a ball more than once. And I started to get a little unhappy and wondered if this approach for happiness was the right one for me. And a few weeks passed, and during one of my favorite after-work activities, endless scrolling through the gems on Pinterest, I stumbled upon this Polish idiom. It reads, "Not my circus, not my monkeys." It literally means, I won't interfere or bother myself with this business. It's someone else's job to deal with it. And it was such a different view on how I normally handled my situations. But I liked it, it spoke to me. And after a few days, the idiom was still stuck in my head. I just couldn't shake it. So I decided to give it a try. And I must say, I was a little hesitant at first, since as a project manager, it most of the time is my circus, and they are my monkeys. But I soon learned that if you make your monkeys responsible for their own circus, you might actually make them fly. When my sister and I were younger, our parents used to tell us that no is a love word. At that time, I didn't understand what the positive word love had to do with the negative word no. But in the time following my new not my circus, not my monkeys approach, I learned the value of saying no. Sometimes the best way to help someone is to simply let them help themselves. If you always fix everything for everyone, you deny them the ability to learn new skills. You deny them the chance to fly. Make everyone responsible for their own act. Because isn't the ringmaster just a master of ceremonies? The glue between the acts. If the ringmaster keeps jumping through the hoop, the monkey is out of a job. And then it's not a circus anymore, just a one-man show. And that's not what the spectators came for. The first time I experienced the positive effect of letting people help themselves was during the maternity leave of one of my fellow DEPTers. I was appointed to manage the business of the social content team, which meant handling 10 clients for which we create the daily social posts. Other campaign projects also needed my attention, so I was forced, against my nature, to shift some of my day-to-day responsibilities to my colleague Frank, who is a creative and not a manager. He started to pick up contact with clients about deliverables and questions. And it got under my skin that I wasn't there to fix everything. I hated it. But very naturally, I saw him growing. It gave him confidence. So by giving myself more brain space, I actually gave him the room to grow. And I know it sparked his joy. And honestly, people, don't we all want to empower people, knowing what it feels like to be empowered ourselves? As I am trying to practice this state of mind, I discovered that from a lot of corners within DEPT, people actually share the same belief. Recently, one of our strategists told me, give responsibility to the people who should have it. And the fact that other people share the same belief empowered and inspired me to preach here what I try to practice every day. We are part of a you can be anything if you give everything society. And in a world that taught us to take on a lot of responsibilities at once, it feels weird to say no or to delegate. But try it, people. Please give it a try. Because I know you cannot do everything by yourself. And others can do more than you think. Besides that, monkeys are much smarter and much more independent than you think. Watch YouTube or simply trust me. And it doesn't just help your circus, your monkeys, your company, your clients. It helps the most important asset we all have, ourselves. It's not selfish to look out for yourself. It keeps your brain sane. Because worrying about something that doesn't or doesn't have to concern you only causes unnecessary stress. And let's be honest, today, burnouts are the #1 occupational illness. We also experience that within DEPT, and I'm pretty sure you all recognize that from within your own companies. If you look at the top 10 of causes of burnouts, wanting to keep control is on top of that list. And not even the clowns in your circus can make that funny. You can juggle all the balls, so stop trying. Say no to juggling. If you give up the urge to juggle, you might find everything much more manageable. And the fact that I am in a managing position doesn't mean that this doesn't count for you as a designer, a developer, a marketer, or a strategist. In every role you perform tasks, and we need a certain level of self-management to successfully finish. So whatever job you have, choose your circus wisely and let your monkeys fly. Lose control a bit. Say no for a change. I promise others have the same goal. They care for you, and they will catch the ball, or you if you fall.